I'm Mark Grieb. I'm quarterback for the San Jose SaberCats. Obviously, having the league go under and taking that time off, it changes you. It changes your priorities. I got into teaching and I became a high school teacher and coach. Continued to work out, although not in the way that I would work out for football. Stayed active and really thought that my career was over. And then Coach Arbet called me last summer and asked if I wanted to come back and play. And I had to think about it a long time, because at the time we were living in Southern California, and my wife's in medical school and she's really busy, and so it's put more on me to be a dad and be there full time, and so I was kind of concerned about it, and then I decided to come back, and I'm glad I did. I've been lucky to play for this organization for as long as I have. I'm grateful to the ownership, to Coach Arbet, and to Coach Malley, who really molded me into the player that I am today. And the knowledge that I have of the game, I directly attribute to him. With that said, I've had the opportunity to play with some of the greatest players to ever play this game. Sam Hernandez, who's an all-time sack leader, is one of my best friends, and James Rowe, one of the best receivers to ever play this game. I consider him to be one of my best friends. And Cleveland Thomas, Omar Smith, I could go down the list. And I've just been lucky to have those friendships and to be a part of teams with guys that care so much about playing and love to play the game. And from that perspective, I'm just grateful to have played for such a great organization. There's a lot of learning that has to go on. I think that I've taken on more of a teaching role and recently more of a coaching role in terms of the offense and what plays we're running, watching more film, writing up plays for practice, helping to design the game plan, calling the plays in the game, and understanding the situations, getting the right personnel on the field. I've had great help with Jasper Harvey and Steve Pappin, and as well as Coach Arbet and Coach Jarnigan. They've all helped me in this process, and I could never do it by myself. I know that he cares deeply about winning, and he cares about this organization, and from that standpoint, that is what you want as a coach. And I think that when you worked with someone for so long, you understand what he does well, and you understand the pressures and the strain of the job, and I think he's doing a great job, and I think that we're lucky to have him here as a head coach. There's no question, in order to get to 40,000 yards, you have to be around an organization that gives you the opportunity to succeed. I mean, they have to protect you, because otherwise I would have gotten injured and I'd probably be out of the game a long time ago. You have to have the receivers that can get open, otherwise you're not going to complete any balls. My stats, my yards, they go as our offense goes, and that's why it's so important to be good in all those phases of the game, because as the quarterback, you're really totally dependent on those around you. I attribute a lot of that to not only the coaching that we've had here, the ownership who's put so much into this, but just the great players that I've had the opportunity to play with. I think of it kind of like the icing on the cake. It's nice to have there, but you still, at the end of the day, if it was just icing, I don't know. I guess maybe some people would take just the icing, but you still want that cake. You want to have that successful team, and that's the thing that I play for. I the 100 wins, you know, it's a symbol of what we've done in the past. And, you know, and for me, playing football is all about now. This group of guys, the guys that you're with right now, competing. What do you give? What do you put into it? How well can we as one unit play? And, you know, and so some of those numbers, like I said, you know, that's a reflection of things that have happened in the past, of which this team has no control. In life, it's important on a regular basis to understand what your priorities are, and my priority as a dad comes first, and so I take that very, very seriously, and I don't ever want to take time away from my daughters so that, you know, I can, you know, say that I'm a better football player or tout myself as a better play caller. I need to devote time to them because they need it. You know, they're 7 years old and they can't demand my time in the way that, you know, that maybe the SaberCats would. So I need to make sure that from my own perspective, I allot time for them and I'm there for them, even though, you know, I put a lot of my heart and my mind and passion into this game. You know, I need to be there for them, and I take it very seriously. You know, I think they're a huge part of my life, and they bring me so much joy, and I have so much fun when I'm around them. I take great pride in being a good father. I recognized pretty early that I really enjoyed the aspect of teaching and coaching, and so, you know, I went back with the idea of becoming an educator. And, you know, whether you're a coach or whether you're a 10th grade science teacher, you know, you're a teacher, and there's so many things to learn about being a teacher. It's an extremely challenging profession, and there's a certain art to being a good one. There's skills that you need to do it well, and I think, and that's where some of the teacher training programs come into it. And I've benefited greatly from some of those programs, but that's where I see it. You know, as far as, you know, my master's from Stanford was probably one of the most eventful years of my life. I was a graduate assistant coach, so I coached with the Stanford football team in 2000. I played for the SaberCats that year. I also played for the XFL that year, and I ended up getting my master's, and I met my wife, who I ended up marrying later on. You know, so probably when I go back and look at all the things that happened in that year, it was a pretty amazing year in my life. I've just been so appreciative in the way they've received me, and I've always been thankful for San Jose's fans, because I think they really care about the game and they get into it and they support it. One of the things when I decided to come back, I had in the back of my mind that I wanted to show people that I didn't play this game because I was getting a paycheck and I was, you know, I was making X amount of dollars, because coming back to this game, I haven't made nearly the money that I used to make, but I've enjoyed it every bit as much, and, you know, and I love this game, and I appreciate the support that the fans have given me, because they've been great all year long, you know, and we haven't had as much success as maybe years past up to this point, but they've continued to come out and cheer us on. And really, they've been great all year long.